And back here live at the Carrabba's Italian Grill at the Fayetteville Town Center, the exclusive bonus chat here on the QSportsTalk.com. If you want to log in, say hi, start chatting away and adding your questions or comments, we'll get to as many as we can here live at Carrabba's. And Coach, been a fun way to enjoy the show here, interacting once people start chatting away and lining up some questions here.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about Mike Bray, and it looks like you're scrolling through some of the...
Yeah.
Calling it a career at Notre Dame after 20, how many? 23?
This is his 23rd and final season. Yeah, he's going to stay there in some capacity, which is good. I mean, that's what he should do. He's been a great representative for that school, and
good dude.
He's just a good guy. He's done about as well as you're going to do at Notre Dame. He's won a lot of games there, taking them to a bunch of tournaments. Pretty good.
In the chat right now, Govendo4 says, Coach, what do we need to do to put a stop to the slow starts? I guess is the...
it varies. There's a different reason sometimes every time, but, there's no formula for it. If I knew the answer, we would do it, but we've had some good starts, but not as many as we'd like.
Benny, it seems he's a little more energized when he comes out. He seems to be more comfortable, obviously, the more that he plays.
When he makes his jump shot, he gets more energized. He's got to be energized without that. That's the problem. He's talking about, I'm not ready sometimes on both ends. You don't say that. You shouldn't say that, because that should never happen. When you come out on the court, you have to be ready, whether it's practice or a game. You need to be ready every day. And that's something he's working on, but he needs to get better at.
Cuse Dude here in the stream chat. Again, if you're watching here, QSportsTalk.com, and you have a question for the coach, you can just go to the chat area and hit send, and we can see it. Cuse Dude says, Coach, do you listen to any podcasts? JJ Redick has a good one.
I don't. I actually don't know how to get a podcast. I'm sure that, JJ's a good guy, smart guy. He knows basketball. Yeah, I'm sure there's some good podcasts out there. One of the problems I have, I got so tired of politicized radio where everybody's on this station knocking the Democrats, everybody on this station is knocking the Republicans, and you get tired of that. I used to watch that. I don't even watch that anymore. I just literally,
it's too much.
Don't watch it. Maybe late at night I'll watch a recap or something, because they say the same thing all day long. So you can watch it at 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 6 at night, 10 at night, or 2 in the morning. You can look at it and they'll tell you what they talked about all day. The same thing.
Just summarize the nonsense.
It's just nonsense. It really all is nonsense.
Joe says, hey, Coach, this is Joe. He said it was great seeing you a few weeks ago in Fulton. You were in Fulton at an event up there?
We went up for a charity thing. We had a bunch of art supplies donated by an alum in New York City, and we took care of the whole, everybody in the Fulton that wanted this art kit. There's a nice one, a really nice one. So we were able to get up there and give those all out. I think we gave out at least 100 and something.
Oh, wow.
It might have been 150, and they were big kits.
That's cool.
They were nice. Really nice.
There's a chicken place in Fulton called JT's Flippin' Chicken.
Really?
It's pretty good.
I didn't know that. I would have gone there.
I didn't know. I would have given you a heads up on that.
I would have gone there because we were looking, I think, for some place to go to eat, actually.
Good spot. Steve from North Syracuse in the chat here as well, and he was able to call during the radio portion. He wants to know, are you getting lonely there, Coach, with Roy and Coach K and Mike Bray?
Well, we're not living together, so
not that lonely.
No, that's it's a good point there, Steve. Steve makes good points. He's not the calling guy that's trying to second guess everything and destroy everything. He's a really good guy that thinks about this stuff and usually makes really good points, and that's appreciated. It's good when people do that.
Are you able to, or how often do you talk with Coach K? Do you talk to him once
He texts me after some games, and I text him back, and stuff like that. But he's doing well. He's happy. He's doing his radio show and keeping busy. He's got a lot of grandkids. He's doing really good. Roy's, he looks good to me. He looks like he's doing. It's interesting when Lou Carnesecca retired. I think he was 68, maybe. He looked terrible.
Yeah.
Well, I saw him when he was 88. He looked better than he did when he was 68. He just completely looked better. I think he's 95 or something. I think
his birthday was a couple weeks ago. I think
he's not doing great, but if I could be 95 and not doing great, I'll be happy.
Sign up for that right now.
But he looked great. Like 10 years after, I'd see him places, and he looked better. 20 years after, he looked better than when he finished coaching. Coaching isn't that easy.
It's, and I used to, when I was younger, watching, I'd be concerned about the health of coaches sometimes, on the sidelines when the blood pressure and the stress and everything.
It gets up there. I took my blood pressure the first time I've taken it in months, and it's like low, almost a low record.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Let me see here. What's the hardest action to guard on a basketball court? That you could see used in college or in pros?
Well, the pick and roll is a hard action to guard. It really is. That's why everybody uses it. In Europe, they all use it. That's all they use. In the NBA, they use it a lot. I think those down screens and stuff like that are hard to guard against zones. Any screening of the zone is always difficult to guard. But there's a lot of different actions, but the pick and roll is the toughest. That's why everybody uses it.
Ryan wants to know, Coach, with the Coach Bray being on the long list of coaches that you've coached against that have retired, do you have any feelings when you see the long list of fellow coaches that you coached against that are now on to another chapter?
For the last 20 years, coaches that I coached against have been retiring.
That's true.
So there's nothing new here.
That's a good point.
When I started out, the Big East was John Thompson and Rolly Massimino and a whole bunch of guys, and they're all retired now or gone.
We had on the radio years ago, had gotten a hold of Raleigh, because he was in Florida, I think, at like a smaller
division college. Yeah, he was still coaching. No, it was he won a championship. It was forgot what division, NAIA or something. I don't know, but he was still coaching at 78, 80, something like that.
Note here, Coach Lou turned 98 a couple weeks ago.
Wow, he's one of the really great guys. He would compete against you and everything, but then he'd just shake your hand, wouldn't never make an excuse, never say anything. It's a great game. He's a great guy. He's really probably my favorite all-time coach. And he called me for a good 15 years after he retired. He'd call me once a year or something. Hey, let's go. Let's keep going. He was great.
I was watching a couple of weeks ago. It was probably on his birthday, and the guys on PTI were talking about his birthday. And Michael Wilbon said when he was just starting out as a reporter, he was down in New York City, and the game was over, and Wilbon had to get to the airport. And then Coach Carnesecca and his wife were coming out of the arena. I was like, "Where you going, kid?" And he said, "Well, I Coach, I'm waiting for a cab. I get to the airport." He's, "Get in the car, I'll take you."
That's Lou. That's Lou Carnesecca.
Picked him up and took him.
That's what he would do. He's really, I can't tell you what a great guy he was. That's the great thing about this life. You get to see people like that. And he's not the only one, but he's always kind of stands out a little bit in my mind. But there's so many great people that we get to see, run into, and spend time with that sometims you don't appreciate. I remember sitting in the room with him, John Thompson, Rolly Massimino, PJ Carlesimo, Bill Raftery, Paul Evans, Dave Gavitt was the commissioner, and you're just looking around, and all these guys are in the Hall of Fame. Rick Pitino came into that group, Gary Williams came into that group. It's pretty
good group.
Good collection of people.
Al wants to know, Coach, is the combination of the portal and NIL making it almost impossible to recruit?
It's harder now to go to freshmen because you're playing freshmen against seniors or fifth years. That's difficult. And, but it's the way of college basketball. I think ideally you want a combination of good young players and maybe a portal guy. But it's hard if you have good young players. The portal guys want to start, so you're not going to get like 2 or 3 of them if you got good young players. So it's finding the right mix.
Question here, Coach, an NBA question. The Pistons played the Bulls in Paris today.
Yeah.
Thoughts on international games? Is the expansion worth it?
It's too far. I mean, the travel's crazy. There's interest over there, but to start traveling over there for football games and basketball games, I just think it's really be hard. So I don't see that happening. But it's such a long trip, and you're playing. Then you fly back. You got to play the game after getting off a plane after 8 hours. So it's pretty tough.
I think I had seen today that for next NFL football season, the Buffalo Bills will be playing.
I think 5 of the teams are playing over there. Yeah, I just think it's hard on the players when you start playing these Thursday night games and you start playing over there and coming back. Football's a physical, tough game. You play on Sunday. I mean, you need a couple days completely off, and then a couple light days, and then then you can get ready to play again. But when you got to play in 3 days, 4 days, that's hard. I don't know. It's hard. It's all money.
It is. This weekend, obviously, divisional playoffs, and this past Monday night football. Did you ever watch the Manning cast?
I haven't. Just a little bit. I haven't really watched that. They're funny guys. Yep. I'm sure it's probably pretty good.
It's entertaining. And Peyton Manning was talking about in football, obviously not the basketball, but for football, that a lot is made of. They get asked a lot about adjustments that you made at the half. You'll come out in the second half. And he said in his 18 years in the NFL, they never made any half. He said that's a myth.
It's a myth.
He said at the half, he said, here's what we do. We go to the bathroom, eat a couple oranges, and then the coach says, okay, let's go out and play again. He said there's no. People think they're breaking down.
You might change and do a couple plays different, or run a couple more plays than you would, but no, there's no halftime magic secret. I remember once we played in South Carolina in the Garden. They were pretty good, that Alex English. We played great. We were up 52-28. And I had TV cameras, which I never allowed in, and haven't since come in. They talk. So I gave my talk. I get up to, hey, you guys are doing this. You're great. We just got to keep doing this, and this. Let's go. Let's get fired up. And they all got fired. We won the game by 2 points. We were up 24. We won the game by 2 points after my halftime talk. Stuff like that. If you can get up 10 or 15 points on a team and they're good, well, that they can get up 10 or 15 on you, and you didn't blow the game. They just played good.
You mentioned Alex English. Nikola Jokic this past week passed his assist record at Denver, all-time assist leader now for the Nuggets.
I didn't even know Alex English had that many assists because he was a scorer, big time.
I didn't. I better catch that on.
I would have never thought that, ever. But Jokic is really good. That's the thing in the NBA. It's a stars league, and right now there's more stars than I think there have been in the NBA in a long time. Because you go around the league, you got Zion, you got, obviously, you still got LeBron, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, Lillard is still there, Giannis is there, Harden and Durant and Embiid and Kyrie, Morant, I'm sure Jokic, Doncic. That's 10.
10 stars right there.
And Brown and Tatum. That's 12. I mean, you got 15 maybe. Star players. That's what runs the NBA. They're always looking for that guy. They want to get some good, but they're looking for that guy. Because you can't win without that. one
You
or
need
two
that
of those
guy.
guys. You need that guy. Two of them, really.
This one here, Coach. How does international recruiting work for colleges?
It's most international players that we get are here. They come over and they go to high school, and so we get them in high school. That's where we get them from.
So it's not like you're flying to
No,
Germany or
no. All the guys we've had played high school here. You know, the really good players that stay over there usually just go to the pro team over there. Some of them won't come over, but they usually come over for at least 1 year of prep school before they go to college.
Going back to Nicola on Denver, he's the first center ever to lead a franchise in assists.
I thought, for the year, yeah.
Yeah.
Will Chamberlain did it in L.A. because when he went out there, they said he was just a scorer. So he said, okay. And so he led the league in assists.
just
Instead
to show
of
him.
shooting,
Oh,
he still
okay.
averaged 35 points, but he just showed him, I'm going to lead the league in assists, and he did.
This one here, Live Golf now has a TV deal. Are you going to watch?
I saw that. Yeah, Country Western. Yeah, I mean, I'll watch. I like everything. I mean, I'll watch some of it, but I watch the golf, but I don't watch it as much. When Tiger was on, I watched no matter what. I watched, but now I'll watch some, but not the same way.
Let me see here. A couple of other things that happened on this day in sports history. Coach, we mentioned that Notre Dame UCLA game from 1974. A couple of other notable events on this day in 2000, January 19th. Michael Jordan returned to the NBA to the Wizards as the president and director of operations, I guess.
Was he playing then too, or is that when he just came? No, he just came back.
I think he just came back into the NBA in that role.
That didn't work out.
Didn't work out like he thought it would.
No.
2002 NFL game, Coach. The AFC divisional playoff game on this day was the Tom Brady New England Patriots Oakland Raiders game that had the tuck rule.
Tuck rule.
That was on this day in the 2002.
When Tom Brady looks back at his highlights, you think he's got any highlights to look at? Like he's got to take all day to watch his highlights.
If you gave him the task of, all right, pick one, it would take him the rest of the year.
He's got 7 championship or whatever championship games, the Super Bowls, but then the championship games to get there. And he's got about a minimum of 20 games that would be highlights for anybody.
Who do you like for the Super Bowl? Govendo here and some others asking.
Yeah, I'm not that. I like Buffalo. I know they're not playing great. They're going to have to play better, but I like the Bills. I hope they can win, but I wouldn't sell the guy in Kansas City short for sure. I mean, that guy is pretty good. I don't know who they're playing in Kansas City. I don't know who they got in the playoffs.
I don't. You know what? I know if they both win, obviously they're playing in Atlanta next week. The Jaguars. Thank you, Jordan.
Oh, they're playing Jaguars now?
Yeah.
Well, I like their chances of winning that game. And I liked. I mean, if I had to pick somebody, I'm sentimentally for the Bills, but I think that guy, he's pretty good.
Coach, there's another birthday today, and I just read about this today, and you might be familiar with the guy because he's local, but Tony Graziano.
Yeah,
you know Tony.
I know the name
because he had the restaurant in Canastota there.
Yeah,
Casa Mia.
Yeah,
Graziano's Casa Mia.
Yeah.
But his story is amazing. I mean, he was at World War II. He was a paratrooper, landed at Normandy.
Wow.
Was in the Battle of the Bulge. Came back here, started that restaurant in 1950. Ran it for I'm not kidding, 70 years.
Wow.
He trained. He was Carmen Basilio's first manager as a boxer. Back then they called them reformatories for kids that were having some troubles, but he got out of the reformatory, Jake LaMotta, and helped him out. And then Rocco, and I don't even know his name, but the guy changed his name to Rocky Graziano. And this is the guy who did all that.
Rocky Marciano.
Rocky Marciano.
That's pretty good.
And not only that, this guy, Tony Graziano, is in the Bare Knuckle Boxing Hall of Fame himself. And it's his birthday today. He's 101. He's still going.
Wow.
Why isn't there a movie about this guy?
That should be that's an epic movie right there.
That's like taking a big chunk out of life. He was running that restaurant till like 4 years ago. He was like 96 years old. He was still managing the joint.
Wow. That's incredible. It's a world full of some really great stories. The problem is you only hear about the crappy stories on TV.
Yep. And then more should be made of guys like that. Yeah. I think that's a fascinating story.
Yeah, I do too. Maybe we'll have a show someday and we'll just do great things that have happened, great people and great things that have happened in upstate New York. Why don't we do that?
I like that.
And great restaurants we're going to visit in upstate New York.
I'm writing that down right now.
That's what we're going to do for our show.
I love it. I'm writing it down right now. Great stories and people in restaurants. Only good stuff.
Only good. No bad.
Steve saying, going back to, actually, he says it was Rocky Graziano, the guy Paul Newman played in Somebody Up There Likes Me.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So do you think it's odd that journalists and personalities are allowed to be so open with things with their favorite teams or complaining about officiating, etc.? Seems like a fairly new thing that instead of being a journalist, now they're allowed to
There's not many journalists anymore. Everybody's a commentator now, pretty much. So that's okay. That's just the way it goes. But I mean, if you're covering a sport and you're a journalist, you're supposed to be objective, and most are. I think they want me to say it was a bad call. They won't say it. So that's all right. That's the way it is. That's being objective. You should be objective.
Final one here, Coach, and we'll start to wrap it up here. Again, thanks to everybody for joining us here at QSportsTalk.com. About the people who are critical, Steve says that, it means they still care.
Well, I don't know if it does. That'd be an argument to have, because I'm not sure they care. They will say that, but I think they care more about being critical than they do care about winning. That's just a feeling I get from talking to some people or hearing some people talk. I don't mind if people are passionate about it. I'm good with that, but come up with the right reasons. Don't make up something why we lose a game. I mean, we lost the Miami game. We didn't play defense inside, and we got killed on the boards in the second half. It wasn't Judah. It wasn't, Chris had a bad shooting night. It wasn't that. When we lose, it's because as a team, we didn't do enough things that you have to do. It's never about one guy. Like if Miami had lost, it wouldn't be because Isaiah Wong had a bad game. I mean, it's just they wouldn't have done enough to win the game. And, so that's the problem I have. There's a reason you lose every game that you lose. Every once in a while, the other team's just better. But in a game where you have a chance to win, and maybe you should, maybe you shouldn't, there's generally an overall reason why you didn't win. It's not one guy. It's not one coaching decision. You make 100 coaching decisions during the game, and some of them work, some of them don't. But at the end of the Notre Dame game, we did something, and Judah got the ball and scored the first game. At the end of the Pitt game, we tried to get it someplace else. It didn't work, so we didn't score. So it's not that either one was wrong, but
it's how the game went.
When the ball goes in, it's right. And if it doesn't go in, it isn't. That's just the way it works.
Last but not least, is the show better or worse without Paulie being here?
Paulie's been good. He doesn't say anything here on this show, so that's good. When he's talking on the real show, on this other show, then that's when it can be problematic. But Paulie's great.
I will pass that along to him.
Paulie's great. He's been around a long time.
Yeah,
he's been along since we started, practically, right?
Just about. I mean, the reason he doesn't fly goes back to the 2003 championship game. Like, there was a bad flight back, and he hasn't got on a plane ever since. So he's been around.
He needs to go talk to somebody.
All right, Coach.
He's got more of a chance driving down there to Georgia to get have something happen bad than he does get on that
To
plane.
get on a plane.
That's
We've tried to
facts.
tell him that.
It's all facts.
All right. Well, hey, thanks to everybody again here for joining us
Yeah.
on QSportsTalk.com. Great chat. We'll talk to you on the radio tomorrow, Coach, and we'll be back here next Thursday night at the Carrabba's on QSportsTalk.com and TK99 and TK105. See you next time. Thanks.